As I was watching Vinland Saga, the famous anime and manga right now, their characters compelled me. To me they were so relatable, so real, and the most charismatic among them is no one except Askeladd. I thought a lot about his character since season 2 finale, and here I wanted to share with you some things about this character that I thought were interesting. This video contains a spoiler for the anime and manga Vinland Saga up until season 2, so watch on your own risk. Askeladd, or Lucius Artorius Castus as he was named by his mother, was a child of a Viking warrior, but he received no fatherly love. As a matter of fact, his father chooses the children who show the strength as his own, and wouldn't name the many children he had with his many slaves, one of which was Askeladd's mother. He cleared ashes, thus the name Askeladd was his nickname. You see, in his early life he wasn't granted a chance, or his life situation was very bad, something that I believe he tried to impose on Thorfinn. Early on in the series, we see Thorfinn getting starved, beat the hell out of him, and given no quarters until he proved himself. In doing so, Askeladd saw himself in the young Thorfinn, and he started to treat and raise him the way he was raised because 1. It was the only thing he knew of fatherhood, 2. He wanted to raise a sly fox like himself from young Thorfinn. We will talk more about this later on. Askeladd had two origins, one from Jutland and one from Wales. His father, being a Jutland warrior and a Viking, Askeladd turned into a Viking so that he could get close to his father, despite his hatred for Vikings and his father. When his mother went mad and mistakes Olaf, Askeladd's father, as Artorius, the hero of the legend, he was ready to kill her, but Askeladd's impulse and quick maneuvers saved his mother and himself from hard labor. His mother's identity is Welsh, and Welsh people are often proud of their origin, an aspect Askeladd often shows in his actions toward Wales. You see, at this point, Askeladd was close to his revenge, and he exacted his revenge by killing his father in his sleep, the first Viking he hated and killed. Viking was a term often considered for invaders to England, and it was a rather profession than a nationality. Askeladd blended in with Vikings, and in my opinion his real plan was to eradicate all Vikings, so he became one of them. He led a group of mercenaries, and charismatic and genius that he is, he managed to control these unlovable creatures so that he could pursue his own goal, which, after a while, he forgot. He lost reason, and as hurtful as it was, he was now a fully fledged Viking, with no remorse for humanity and morality. Until his fateful encounter with his toughest challenge to date, Thors. Thors is a magnificent character in the series, and despite his short appearance, his impact can be felt throughout all the series. Thors, despite being much more powerful and a Viking, refused to kill any of the mercenaries following Askeladd, and only knocked them out. This encounter showed Askeladd that even Vikings could create humans such as him, and this encounter was forever etched in his memory as to why Thors, despite having the upper hand, killed no one. This perhaps showed him there could be a way to stop Vikings, and there may be no need for pointless wars. His encounter with Thors left young Thorfinn, now orphaned, on his care. Actually, he had no intention of keeping Thorfinn, but Thorfinn, being son of Thors, proved himself to be a survivor and an extraordinary specimen. Askeladd raised young Thorfinn to be a good killer, and raised him despite Thorfinn's hatred toward him, and his occasional duels was a way to keep Thorfinn in check and satisfy the revenge-fueled young lad. Askeladd would have reached to no places if it wasn't for his fateful encounter with Canute, the Danish prince. In his first look upon the young prince's face, he saw something the other could not, or perhaps felt the same pressure he had during his childhood in young prince's face. There he tries to turn Canute into his next son, and in my opinion, Canute is the second son Askeladd takes under his wings, He even goes as far as to take him to Wales and show him the different tribes living there and its untamed land. Because he could have avoided Thorkel's massive force with different approaches. But his visit to Wales, in my opinion, was to both tire his mercenaries, which he has grown so much to hate, and show the young prince his world, his origin. Canute had the genius Askeladd wanted, and he could have easily used the young prince and manipulate him to his own end if he made him into the king. His army's death was a dream come true for Askeladd. He could finally get rid of the people he hated so much and gamble his way into survival. Thorkel did what he wanted to do, but wasn't able to. After Thorfinn's battle with Thorkel, and Canute's change of character, Askeladd even put more trust into the young prince. His last duel with Thorfinn is one of the defining moments of the series. After Thorfinn failed again to defeat Askeladd, he is mad, both as a Viking and as a human. He is mad as a Viking because Thorfinn wanted to kill him with his broken hand and he took offense to it. And as a human, because Thorfinn understood nothing. Askeladd tried his best to turn him into a warrior like himself, but his lack of cunning made him feel that all his efforts was in vain. And he wasted his time. And this even hurt him more after he tells his son his story, and Thorfinn's reaction is rather stupid and one-minded, which makes him tell Thorfinn that he really despises Thorfinn and all that he represents as a Viking. He tells one important thing here though, which I really thought about. Someone has to do it. Not a hero, not a god, just someone. This line alone tells a lot. He is someone bored of false promises, losing all hope for a savior to save people from this plague that is the Vikings. So he takes the reins into his own hands and becomes the so-called savior. And savior is not necessarily a merciful person. Lastly, his death was very poetic in my opinion. He stands in the face of the king and defies him. He is the very embodiment of Wales, untamed and proud of his origin. That is why he takes extreme offense to King calling his mother a slave, and all that Wales produces is slaves. He certainly could have killed the king in other ways and could exact his plans like he did with his father. But in this exact moment he chose to do this for two reasons. One would be the strategic benefit he will leave for Canute, his favorite son, and entrust the future of Wales to him. And the second was hatred. In one of the episodes, Askeladd says that everyone is a slave to something. And it was true. Askeladd was a slave to his hatred toward Vikings. He hated them with every fiber of his being that reminded him of his father. As a matter of fact, just like Bjorn says, he hates himself more than anyone else, because he looks much more like Vikings every passing day. His death leaves for the Prince Canute the kingdom, and for his Viking son Thorfinn nothing but emptiness. As a matter of fact, his death was so hard for Thorfinn to cope because it was not a simple revenge. It was an obsession. Raise and water through the many years of hatred he accumulated against his leader Askeladd. He died, but his lasting legacy was the peace for people of Wales for years to come, and trying to finally put an end to the Viking through his favorite son, Canute. But he also left something for Thorfinn, and that was Askeladd. In my opinion, his name is very defining because he was covered in ash, the ashes of his reborns. He killed his family many times over, whether it was his father, his mercenaries, or his newly found Dane army family. And him, covered in ash, continued to move on and linger as a thought later on with Thorfinn, which is now a slave. Whether Thorfinn could recover from his Viking self is a story for another time. Thanks for watching this video. If there were any points missed or not mentioned, please write them in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, a like and subscribe would certainly help in many ways. If you have any character that you want me to look into and have a video about, please share them. Thanks for watching, see you all in the next video.